As a business person, you say, I make those investments, even if I'm losing money, because I know what it's going to cost me if I don't. That's being a business person, being an entrepreneur. The solution is you have to invest in your team. When you invest in your team, it's less likely they're going to feel underskilled. If they don't feel skilled, they're not going to perform well, and they're going to feel discouraged and leave.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Dr. Len Tau, and as always, I thank my sponsors, Dental Intelligence, CallRail, and Net32 for their support. Their support allows me to come to your inbox every single Friday at 5 a.m. with a new episode. Today's episode is called The 3 Silent Profit Killers. My guest is Alex Nottingham from All-Star Dental Academy, which is located down in South Florida, where I'm located. So he's very close to me. So Alex is the founder and CEO of All-Star Dental Academy, a leading dental training company. A former top business coach for Tony Robbins, Alex is also an attorney, best-selling author, and international speaker. He helped turn his father's struggling dental practice into a multimillion-dollar success, inspiring creation of All-Star Dental Academy, which has since empowered over 25,000 dental professionals to achieve greater profitability and fulfillment. And in today's episode, we're going to discover how to eliminate the 3 silent profit killers holding your dental practice back in this high-impact webinar with Alex. We're going to learn proven strategies to increase profitability, boost team performance, and create a thriving practice. So please welcome to the Raving Patients Podcast, Alex Nottingham. Alex, thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to be here, and thanks for the intro. The intro was so intimidating.
It's nice. It's nice when you're given.
Yeah, who is this guy? Jeez.
It's nice when you're given the information by the guest.
We'll take a little humility here. Sorry about that, guy.
It's all good. So, Alex, let's start off with, and I like to do this with most of my guests, how you help dental practices. I think I summed it up there, but I wanted to hear it out of your mouth. How you help dental practices and how you work with them.
So you can look at it like 2 ways, like the philosophy and also the actual deliverables that we do. So let me make it simple, deliverables, and then I'll get into like kind of the philosophy. So deliverables, I mean, we provide online training for dental practices on customer service, phone skills, practice management, essentially. We were one of the first to launch the online training program. We do virtual coaching, we do events, we have a hiring service. So those are some of the things that we do, mastermind, whatever. So that's kind of like the deliverables. Now, the philosophy, as you kind of mentioned, like why is this guy who's worked for Tony Robbins, who's an MBA lawyer, why is he in dentistry, right? So it has to do with my father. And as you mentioned in that, and my father's my best friend. We spoke today. He's still practicing. He sold his practice. He does a little on the side. Can't stop doing dentistry. And I never planned to do anything in dentistry. He encouraged me not to be a dentist because he's great at it. Pinky trained dentist, worked with the Extreme Makeover Lab, does high quality stuff. But it was running a business that was a problem. And he always admired the business people because they're the ones who made the money, not the dentists. And so after I finished working for Tony Robbins, or towards the end, his business was in trouble financially. Bad office manager, a lot of poor business decisions. Good dentistry, poor business decisions. And so I took over the practice, running the practice, doing the marketing. My wife, I took her from Bloomingdale's, from retail, brought her into the practice. And no playbook. And we said, okay, let's try customer service skills. Let's try good marketing. And we turned that $1 million practice into 2.4 million within 18 months. And so it was just such a moving moment to work with my dad and help him. And I assumed that other dentists were like him. They love people. They want to make a difference, and not necessarily the best at business. And it's true. Most are like that. And it's just been a blessing for doing this over the past more than a decade, helping all those people. It's just, I love what I do. I love the people I work with, and I love to be able to make a difference for people.
Well, I think that's really good. Nice to hear. Obviously, there are many consulting companies, coaches who are in the industry. A lot of them show success. They have the clients, they have the results. Obviously, you're one of them. When we first connected, which wasn't that long ago, and you're right around the corner from me, basically in South Florida. So I've been down here 5 years, and we're first connecting now. So that's interesting in my opinion. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about during the episode, which are these three silent profit killers in a practice. So can you walk through them one at a time?
Yes.
I may ask some questions related to those things as you're going through them, but why don't you start off by listing these profit killers so people can get a better feel for what we're talking about here?
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get to the profit killers, let me preface this, that the dentistry can be very profitable. And it can create a great life. You're a dentist. You've done it. Now you're a business guru leader. But the problem is other people know the secret as well. And we know your competition knows this, but also corporate dentistry and insurance companies, they know that dentistry can be very profitable. And I'm not saying corporate is bad all in all, but what I'm saying is the independent dentist that's listening has to understand that you're going to be competing with a juggernaut that knows how to do business. And they know that they can be a lot more profitable with it. And so for you to be able to shine, you're going to have to pay attention to business. You're going to have to be able to compete with these external factors, if you will, that are out there, and economic factors that are not necessarily working in your favor. So just like when my father first opened a business, it was easy. You just became a dentist, and everybody they go to the dentist, right? Even he was before insurance companies, and it wasn't like it is now, right? There's a lot of people who have their hands in the pie to make that work. So I think that kind of creates an impetus to pay attention to this great podcast and listen to some of these issues. So what we found is we say, okay, well, they're the problem, corporate or insurance. And no, that's not the silent killer. That's the obvious that you may think. But what we found is we're all about, one of our philosophies in our coaching is self-funding coaching, which is how do you, when you're coaching with a coach, whether it's us or someone else, like how do you make it so it pays for itself? So what are the tactics that are in the practice that don't take a year to work, are not esoteric, right? And you may not be thinking about this. And so the three silent killers, and I do a whole webinar, I'll give you the link later, where I spend 45 minutes go into more depth about this, about the silent killers and some of the technology we teach or the philosophy. But so the first silent killer is the poor rate of new patient conversion. That's huge. And that's our claim to fame at All-Star Dental Academy is phone skills. We're the best in the business when it comes to phone conversion, phone skills. We do all the other, but we're known for that. And so do you want me to list all three or just go one by one as we go along?
You can do all three because that's fine. So number one is rate of the new patient conversion. New patient conversion.
So phone call conversion. That's a silent killer.
Converting a person that calls
into the
office and getting them to actually come in and do treatment.
Yes, we wanted them to come in. We're not even at treatment, just come in. And in our process, we set it up. Like if you follow football, if you throw the football, you want the receiver moving with the ball. So we want to set it up where later it's a good experience. Because the first impression starts the whole process. And patients and everyone is suspicious of everyone. And so if there's something in the process that doesn't seem right, patients are going to run. So we want to be able, first is phone skills. The second is the drain of the practice from broken appointments. And this is in hygiene and doctor. And this is very expensive. And we can talk about the costs as well. But that's another thing. We got to make sure that they show up, right? We're answering the phone. And then that phone call, they show up. And then, yes, case acceptance is a part of it for sure. We do whole retreats on case acceptance. But I'll tell you the third problem, the third silent killer is declining team performance. Our hiring department, I just heard from our hiring department, we hire between 60 to 100 positions in any moment. Hiring is huge right now because we're understaffed or trying to hard to find good people. Hygiene's the biggest problem, but we have also in the front as well. And then we have not just quitting, but silent quitting, or they're not really want to be there. And we're not getting the performance out of the team. And that's a huge money suck in the practice, is the team operating at full capacity. So those are the 3 silent killers that we find that if you're able to put attention to, some of the others start to work out quite well.
Got it. So these are 3 really good things. I like how you're going to talk about these. So yes, new patient conversion is a big problem. Obviously, I think case acceptance is an issue as well, because once you get them in, if you can't get them converted, it's the
That's
same,
right.
But let's start off with number 1. Let's talk about specific things related to new patient conversion, where
Sure.
you think issues are, where do you think practices fail, or where do you
Yep.
think they're faulty, and then how you think you can improve that.
And I will say, case acceptance, those first 2, phone call conversion and broken appointments, are part of case acceptance to get to that point. So that's the hardest. You look at a funnel, and I do this in the webinar, which I'll give you. I'm not going to cover it now, but essentially I go through the business growth formula that phone skills and broken appointments are the top of the funnel. If you're able to widen that throat, then your conversion rates go through the roof, because case acceptance is only case acceptance on people that have called your office, marketing, they came into your office, they showed up. Now you're at the very, very end, right? So if you do these things well, case acceptance is much easier. Right now you're just refining, but everybody wants to go, I want case acceptance, or I want to spend more on marketing. A buddy of mine at Omni Premier Marketing, great marketing company, he'll sometimes tell people, I am not going to work with you if you're not getting phone skills training, whether it's All-Star or someone else. Like you're wasting my time and I'm wasting your money. So you want to think about how a business runs and where you're going to be making those investments. Okay, so phone skills. So here's some really interesting research, right? We've done quite a bit of call analysis, and we found that the average practice, they may or may not know this, but they get 136 opportunities per month on average. This could be a phone call, lead, whatever. And only 48 book. That means 87 are not booking. And you can scale up bigger practice. This is based on a 1.5 million practice, but you can scale down or scale up. But I'm often will say, like, I like to grade on a curve for dentists, right? Especially in the beginning. So I will start with, let's just say you miss 1 per working day. And dentists don't work every day, 4 days a week typically. So that's 16 per month. Not 87, 16. So either they called and they said, you take my insurance. Nope, don't take your insurance. Click, right? Or we didn't build rapport, we didn't answer their question, whatever it might be. That didn't happen. So 1 per working day. Now, if we say the average value of a patient, and this data is, I don't know, this is several years old. It's higher now, but I use $642 for the average value of a new patient. That's what the ADA put out. That was like 5 years old. Inflation is probably closer to 1,000. But if we use that, then 16 times 642 is about $10,000 a month. So we're losing $10,000 a month because 16 people are not converting. Now you can take that over a year, but what if you look at the lifetime value of a patient? So Len, you know a lot of these statistics. You're a referral guy. What's the lifetime value of a patient? The amount of years would you give it?
How many
years would a patient normally stay in a practice on average?
On average, 8 to 10 years.
Yeah. So 10 years is easy math. So 10 times that $10,000 a month, because that patient ain't going to continue to come or refer. You're the referral guru. They're not going to refer. We're not even getting to the referrals. So they're not coming back. That's $100,000, Len, from every month of making this mistake of lifetime value. That's $1.2 million a year of lifetime value. You're never going to recuperate into your practice. So you want to have operatories, you want to scale, you want to do whatever that might be. You're just throwing away $1.2 million in capital every year by this one mistake. And when dentists start listening to their phone calls, right, and they're hearing it, many start to cringe, especially when they get educated as to what what it could be. And certainly you might hear people that don't care on the phone. That's rare. And then there's, ooh, you're in big trouble. But they're just not prepared. And typically, and you know this, you were in the business, is when you hire someone, how quickly are they answering the phone?
Sometimes the day of they get
the day of.
They're the least trained employees in the office.
Correct. Nobody's probably training them. And then who is training them is people that don't want to be on the phone. So you're training the wrong thing. Right?
But it's interesting because people, there's so many products, services that record phone calls. But when I ask the dentist, are they listening to the phone calls? They don't even listen to them.
No.
It's interesting. So
no, and you mentioned Dental Intel, which is a great service. We have a really nice relationship with them, and they know sometimes even with the great Dental Intel, sometimes people aren't even looking at it. So you're spending this. Thankfully, they provide good services to support that. But the point is, you're not listening. You're not looking at the numbers. And if you did, maybe part of the reason they don't is they know what they're going to hear. They know what they're going to see. And I know a lot of dentists do that. They put their heads in the sand a bit. And I have to challenge you guys that you have wonderful people. You have All-Star, you have Len, you have so many others that are there and they want to love you and support you. Let me love you. Let me help you. Right. So this is a huge opportunity. It sounds so simple. But we want to make sure, so part of the solution is here. Before the solution, this is why I talk about you have to understand what's at stake here. So what do I do about it is you have to make sure your team is trained. The Ritz-Carlton, which is who we model amongst other great service companies, will not allow somebody to touch the phone without 60 days of phone training. That's why your experience is phenomenal. That's simple.
No, I agree. I think there's a lack of phone training. As I mentioned, I think you're putting the least trained employee on one of the most important devices you have in your office, which is the phone. It's a lack. And a lot of times if you do listen or you do hear, you're only hearing what one side of the story is said, which is your employee saying. You have no idea what the patient's asking. So, no, I think that's great. So number one is rate of new patient conversion.
Yeah, and so let me give you this really quickly, and then I'll move to the next one. Because, we have a short podcast here together, and the webinar, if you go to our website, allstardentalacademy.com, and you click on webinar, you can go into detail where I go into each one in detail. And I give you, so the solution is the great call process. This is our trademark process. And guess what? We give it all away for free. We give a lot of our stuff for free because, it's like anything. I believe if you like what you have to hear and you like what we're doing, you're like, okay, this is the free stuff. What's the paid stuff? Let's see, right? And but it's not just the content. It's then what do you do about it? So our great call process is something our phone skills trainer, my wife, who did the courses, built this and did this at the dental office, which is GREAT, very quickly. And it's an acronym. Is G is greeting. So you want to make sure you get the greeting down. Okay, and we provide, and even in the webinar, I think I do a sample so you can see what it sounds like. But you want to get the greeting, and there are elements in the greeting. The most important step is rapport. You want to get to know and like and trust each other. That's a process. E is that you engage the patient. That's where you answer their question. Do not answer their question until you know them and you're friendly, okay? Because then you become commoditized. But make sure you do eventually answer them. You then will ask for the appointment, and then you will take information in that order, and there are some subsets with that. So point is, and I think ours is the best because that's what we do, but there are other processes that you may resonate with, but have a process. Have some training with your front office team, with your entire team. The more, Brian Tracy, who I wrote a book with a while back called Counterattack, said every hour you spend in planning, you save 4 hours in execution. And there's a great quote. I think it was John Wooden. Was he a football or?
Yeah, he was a basketball coach for UCLA.
Basketball coach. Thank you. And he said, if you don't have the time to do it right, when will you have the time to do it over?
Yep.
So get it done right the first time.
Right the first time. I agree with you 100%.
All right. So broken appointments, I think you want next, right?
So drain of the practice from broken appointments, which when I was a practice owner, it drove me absolutely nuts.
Oh.
It's patients do not respect our time. Patients show up when they want to show up. They don't necessarily, they just assume that have someone to replace them. So broken appointments are literally such a frustration. So talk about that.
Yeah, there's nothing more dangerous than a dentist that doesn't have work to do. They just kind of like go around the office and get into trouble. So it's important we keep the dentist busy and the team busy. So yeah, broken and change appointments are a problem. They're very expensive. I mean, I do some math as well in the webinar. I talk about and again, these numbers are going to be higher, but I like easy numbers. But we have $500 an hour for doctor, $100 an hour for hygiene. Okay. And that's just production time, let alone just what you have to pay the employee. And if you have 2 doctor broken appointments, okay, per week, and 8 hygiene, that means you're going to have 4 in each if you have 2 hygienists. Again, scale up or scale down. And you have that 4 weeks per month. That's $7,200 per month gone. And then you can stack on top of that what you're paying team, and not just the team. So this is an interesting point. The operations of the entire practice, every staff member, every team you're paying. So to operate the business is costing thousands of dollars an hour, and patients aren't showing up. So you're just burning through cash, right? And so it's very frustrating. And it's this feeling of not being productive. It's not great for the culture as well, and self-confidence with the business. So broken appointments is I think that's something that dentists feel more than the phone skills, because they're around it and they see it. But man, phone skills and phone call conversion. But of course, you don't want to be converting phone. This is very important too. Part of our great call process helps with the broken appointments, because what happens is that the way we set up the process, we find that more people show up. You hear there's some like scripting. We don't believe in scripts. We believe in verbiage, but there's scripting out there that you can try to manipulate people to get them in, and you may have high conversion rates, but people don't show up, or they show up confused and angry because you manipulated them. You told them the wrong thing, or you didn't answer their question eventually, and they came in, oh, we take your insurance. No, we don't. So I've heard one person say, yeah, tell them we take everything. And you come in and then you don't. Like, that's so slimy. You can't do that. That breaks rapport. So that's the issue with broken appointments. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
Okay.
Total sense.
So a few of the things, what do you do about it? Okay. What do you do about broken appointments? So we actually, in our program, we have multiple ways that we can do this. Okay. We have our head instructors way. We have our president of coaching way. We give different options of ways to handle it. But in general, the philosophy is you want to teach, not punish. We don't go and, give them a huge guilt trip. We give a little guilt trip. But typically, we have to remember that there's 2 extremes of broken appointments. One is we just let them happen. Go ahead, reschedule whenever you want. Or the other is that we get angry at them, we fine them, and then what are they going to do? They'll dispute the charge, or they'll just not. I mean, you don't want to get into that. But the point is, and I think you hit the nail on the head, Len. You said it's about respect. Like, you don't respect my time. Yep. This is you guys are doctors, have spent all this time and care and consideration, and you're a professional, and people don't have the time to respect that. You respect them, right? People respect their hairdresser, whatever that might be, their nail tech. I don't have the issue with the hairdresser. I'm my own hairdresser, but the point is that becomes an issue. So what we do is it's all about education. So part of the phone skills part, we provide verbiage, and I even talk about this in the webinar too, is certain things you can say, such as getting a commitment ahead of time with the phone call. So we start planting the seeds that this is a respectful company. People treat you how you expect them or teach them to treat you. So if you come in where, oh, no big deal, come whenever you want, whatever, we're just kind of like a fun cruise, right? We're a cruise line, whatever you like, cancel. Now, with here, it's doctor reserves his time for you. We're going to have different verbiage. We're going to use doctor's name. We never want to upset the doctor, right? And that So part of our verbiage is when people call, we do something called a warning shot across the bow. So when they call to cancel, we'll use verbiage like, "Are you sure you can't keep it?" Like that might get people, "Oh yeah, sure." My dog, our head instructor, he has a great joke like, "Oh, my aunt died again," right? So I can't come in. So we want to educate. We see if they can maybe keep the appointment. If not, then we're going to educate them something to the effect that we typically charge for broken appointments. This time we won't, right? And we say, and then what we'll also do is let them know that, we're booked, whether a month or two down the road, whatever that time frame is, that it's not, we don't reappoint so quickly. And we're very cautious of people that consistently break appointments because Dr. Len, when people consistently break broken appointments, what do you think is going to happen the next time they call?
They're going to get scheduled.
They're going to schedule another appointment, and they're going to break it again.
Yep.
So it's like we get pulled into this because dentists are nice people. So I believe we have to treat patients like children. We give them we teach them what is respect, a small little guilt, not terrible, but they're going to want to reciprocate. If they're good people, they will respect you and they will reciprocate. So the verbiage is important, and the role playing is important because it's all also how you say it. If you come in and you're upset with them, they're going to feel resentful, push back. So it's a whole process that everybody on the team has to follow. We have times where the front office is doing a great job with it, but then the hygienist or doctor will override, "Oh, don't worry about it." So, right, you see that. So, and that's very frustrating. How can it, you have to be consistent. Doctor works for the business. And and we don't say policy, never use the P word. We never use policy. This is just about how we do things, self-respect, and that people understand that if they break appointments, somebody who wanted it can't get it. It's going to be almost impossible to reappoint, and there's going to be consequences, right? In a way. So it's a process. It's a system, but it's also practicing that process with the team.
Got it. Now you mentioned the third thing is declining team performance.
Yes. Okay.
And
let's talk about that.
That was one of the biggest concerns. So I talk to a lot of dentists every day. I travel the country. I speak to dentists, whether it's in person or over the phone. And especially, I like to be a mentor to the newer dentists because running a dental practice is tough. And I ask, you've been in practice 2 years. What do you find is the biggest struggle for you? And almost everybody says the team, whether it's hiring team or keeping team or performance of the team. So I definitely want to hit this topic because declining team performance is a problem and can have drastic effects on the practice.
Yes. So the ADA states that, I love their research, staff-related issues are the number one complaint of dentists. Dentists would love just to do dentistry. The vast majority, 99%, they don't want to deal with people. That's not how their personalities are built. It is very frustrating. Unfortunately, we need to have quite a bit of people to be able to run a business. So we talked about kind of some of the concerns of quiet quitting, of just proper staffing, of all those that are going out there, being able to train. So here's another interesting or it is a cost. But Ben Erickson, from friends of ours, you may probably know them out there, and they've done some research on the cost of replacing an employee. And do you know what that is? You probably know what that is. Do you know what the multiple is?
$25,000 or something per person, or when it costs to retrain somebody, or
they use multiples.
Okay.
So the multiple of the person or the position is 1 to 3 times the cost of their salary. And there's this whole page of what it's going to cost you, right, to replace them, productivity, so on. But even if we do one time, and you're kind of right there. So if you have an entry-level employee that's $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, that's going to be one time the cost to replace. So every time we're turning over, there's another hit to the business. More people we have to hire, which we don't want to do, which is why, I don't know why, we like to get, as part of our hiring service, we like to get ghosted. We get ghosted. But and it's funny. I love to say, Len, that I had this grand vision of All-Star and this is what it be. And but I just follow what's needed. Like about 7 years ago, people were saying to me, dentists were saying, I can't train your service. I don't have team members. I was like, what if we hired them for you? And that kind of took off. So it's so needed. But we have to understand that it's frustrating, but as a business person, it's also very costly. And the reason I go into cost is because eventually, doctors, you're going to have to invest ultimately into your team. And I'm going to say this, like, I don't believe any dentist, unless you are part-time dentist or you manage the practices, can function at a high level without some level of coaching. And I'm not saying it has to be all-star. I'm evangelical about it all across the board. So I'm like, if you can find a good coach, a good training company they have to be affordable and you have to believe in their philosophy, that it's a way of leasing an in-house consultant is coaching and training companies. Have a piece of them in your business and always be working on them is critical, because you're going to get pulled back into it. So the point is, the reason why we add all these things up, we're talking, and in the webinar, you'll see, allstardentalacademy.com. You can get the webinar or the ebook, whatever you like. We give a lot of free stuff away. The issue is, if you add it all up, you're looking at $250,000 of mistakes from all of these silent killers for a $1 to $1.5 million practice. It's a lot of money. So when you say, okay, coaching or consulting is a couple grand a month, all in for these different things, or we want to go to an event, one of our events, or Len's got these amazing events in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, I'm going to go, the time is recorded, we're going to go see the great Len event in a couple weeks. But I mean, events that y'all have, I mean, you see that, oh man, if I just spend a fraction of these mistakes on my team, whether it's consulting or coaching or going to an event or whatever, like, it's a drop in the bucket. So that's the thing, the difference. And Len, you had both lives as a dentist and as a business person. Dentists, we don't want to spend money. We just put our heads in the sand. This is not all, some. But as a business person, you go, and I know you're not afraid. You spend a lot on these events. You care a lot. Okay. We talked about this is as a business person, you say, I make those investments, even if I'm losing money, because I know what it's going to cost me if I don't. That's being a business person, being an entrepreneur. And so the solution is you have to invest in your team. When you invest in your team, it's less likely they're going to feel underskilled. Because remember, part of it is skill. And if they don't feel skilled, they're not going to perform well and they're going to feel discouraged and leave. And are you investing in leadership? We do a whole leadership retreat. Okay, dentist, are you learning about personality profiles? Are you learning about the other person and building rapport and caring? Because if they feel, and I'll give you a little thing, you want to look for Tony. People love Tony Robbins. Look at the 6 Human Needs by Tony Robbins. Are you making sure that your people feel filled, their needs are met? If they are, they're going to stay more likely and enjoy what they do. That's simple.
Got it. That's really good information. So I did want to do some lightning round Q&A, but we're short on time, so we're going to go through a couple of quick questions here. But these cannot be long-winded. They've got to be like 1 or 2 words, or we'll never get through these.
You got it.
So I like doing this with my guests because it just changes the conversation that happens here. So first question is, who do you look to for advice or mentorship?
My uncle. I actually have a book coming out next year. I got a Ben Bella Publishing, wonderful publishing house. It's called My Uncle the Magician. And actually, I have a website for that. It's alexnottingham.com, and you can download the first chapter. And my uncle taught me about life, about taking good care of people. And I'll leave you with this, is if you make the world around you better, you make your world better.
Okay, what do you think is a unique skill that has helped you become successful?
A unique skill that's made me become successful. I'm being interested. I'm so interested in how people operate, and I want, like, how do you do it? And I want to learn. And I think just to constantly wanted to learn and see how other people do it and try to model that.
Okay. If you achieved all of your life goals tomorrow, what would you do next?
meditate, go to monastery. I don't know. If all my goals, tomorrow, create new goals.
Okay. What is the number one tactic that you use to stay organized?
A task list and a calendar.
All right. Who would you love to collaborate with, and what would you love to collaborate on?
Who would I love to collaborate with and collaborate on? Oh, goodness. That's a good one. Somebody alive or not alive, doesn't matter.
No, it could be anybody. Obviously, I think they have to be alive if you want to collaborate with them. But
want to collaborate with them? Who's alive? That it's funny. I was just talking to my wife about like who would I like? Like celebrities do not interest me, but who would I enjoy to talk to? I think it would be interesting to talk to political leaders on both sides, like that know that not necessarily like just know how government works and that are really, really smart, like, just making a difference in the world. I think that'd be really interesting. Or somebody like maybe like a Bill Gates or Steve Jobs when he's alive, like some of these brilliant minds. I think it'd be fun to talk to somebody like that.
All right, what book do you want to go back and reread as it has made a great impact on you the first time you read it?
Book that I'd like to go back and read. The two books that are always in my consciousness, well, of late, are The Psychology of Money and Die with Zero. So make money and also spend money.
Yeah, spend it. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. What have you learned from the most successful person you know? Most
successful person I know. Well, again, I look at my uncle. Just that's why I had to write a book about him. So, what I learned from him, was that the question?
Yeah.
Enjoy your life. You got a life, and go with it and see where it takes you.
Okay. Describe Mondays for you in one word.
Mondays for me in one word. I don't know. I don't know. You know what? That is a good one. I don't know what a Monday's going to bring. So Monday in one word, I don't know.
That's more than one word, but that's okay. Last question.
It's hyphen. It's hyphened.
Yeah. Last question. I ask everybody this: what is one subscription, something you pay for monthly or annually, either business or personal? So it doesn't have to be business or personal; it can be one of each or one of either. I mean, that you cannot live without. So the subscription that you use that you cannot live without.
Oh my God, where do you come up with these things?
There's an app I use.
Oh my goodness. This would be fun at a tea party or what have you. What's the one subscription that I cannot live without?
Right.
Okay, I'll give you one. My gym subscription. Got to go to the gym.
That works good. All right, Alex, how can people find out more about what you do? How can they connect with you guys at All-Star Dental Academy?
Dental Academy. If you do All-Star Academy, you get a cooking show.
Yep.
So we're All-Star Dental Academy. If you go to allstardentalacademy.com, you can learn. You can get that webinar, ebook. We also have a podcast. We're going to get Len on there shortly. And you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast. That's a great way to start.
All right, well, this is great. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with the audience. Guys, if you liked what Alex said, please feel free to connect with him. He's left his links a couple of times. Check out a webinar he's done. They do a lot of stuff in the South Florida area as well, and I'm sure we'll be working a little bit together in the future. As always, please check out my sponsors, Dental Intelligence, CallRail, and Net32 to see if they can assist you at all. And as I end every single one of my podcast. Jeez, whenever done 4 of them today. Whenever I end any of one of these podcasts, remember your reputation matters. Until the next episode, Alex, thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thank you.